guys, welcome back for another instructional video as we continue on with this segment of rotational shots that you should know for pool, such as 9-ball. So guess I should say shots you should know for rotational pool, really. In the last couple of videos, we did some real basic type of stuff. And I know some of you are probably like, okay, come on. Let's get on to the meat of the stuff. We want to see all the fancy things. I get it. Don't worry, we're going to get there. But the reality is, there's a good chance that the problem you're having isn't positional at all. It's actually pattern. We're going to dive into some pattern stuff at some other point, but for right now, I don't want to talk about patterns. And if you do want to learn a little bit more about patterns, go back a few months, find my drill on brainwash. It's not my drill. You just see me executing it, talking about the different rules of position play. But it's very, very valuable for teaching you about the correct side versus the suicide of the ball. Now, I'm going to give you an example here. The difference between positioning and patterning, right? So when you come into the school, one of the things we'll do is we'll come up with an assessment. We'll say, okay, these are all the things for offense. We got pocketing, positioning, patterns, breaks, and banks. And let's rate ourselves for there. Defense, kicking, hide the cue ball, hide the object ball, strategy of knowing if to play offense or defense, and unorthodox defenses, right? Like hitting the opponent's ball first. And then we get into mental stuff. When we do up this assessment, you know what everybody shows is that the pocketing is their number one strength. And they usually mark themselves lower for positioning. And for patterning, it's usually about the same. And what I found is a lot of people just don't realize what the difference is between patterns and position. You think patterns is, okay, I got to get a book that shows 1,000 different patterns of 9-ball. And what you're doing is you don't actually have the knowledge of how to solve the patterns. A lot of times you're just kind of doing it more like a challenge. Let me see if I can figure it out. Here's the difference between patterns and position. Patterns is landing on the correct side of the ball. See here, I've got a straight on shot. If I land here, those are my three choices, right? I can be straight, I can be to the left, I can be to the right. One of these shots is correct. And I bet you're probably saying, well, I don't like straight. Okay. I'm going to give you a second to think about what do you think is the correct way to go about this, or at least the easiest path. If you said this way, you're absolutely correct. What we want to do is allow the table to give us natural position. Here, I've got a simple stun shot that brings me all the way down the table. Simple roll shot brings me over here. I don't have to do anything fancy at all. I can just float that ball, and it just keeps getting better and better and better as it rolls towards that next shot. I didn't do anything fancy there. Now, if I take the same shot, and now I'm on this side of the ball, well, now I got this weird stretch, and as I shoot this ball, I'm not in position for a long time until right there. And look at how close I got to scratching. I really had to time my speed control. So, obviously, this was much easier. This is patterning. Now we'll talk about what positioning is. Positioning is when you land on the wrong side of the ball. There's my straight line. I'm just barely on the wrong side of the ball. I'm over here on the left side of straight to the line of centers. Now, of course, I can cheat the pocket. I do have a straight shot to the right side of the pocket. And I could put it just straight, but just for demonstration purposes. This is what positioning looks like. Positioning is difficult. Positioning is not easy pool. I don't know about you, but I'd much rather play easy pool. So first things first is I'd much rather that you figure out some patterns and figure out, is it positioning or patterning that's the problem? Positioning is also this. I'll give you a brief example here. People say, Coach, I need help with positioning because I can't seem to figure out how to get that ball to float around the table without scratching. Okay, maybe you do need some help with positioning. Or, if you left yourself there, at least, maybe the problem isn't positioning, it's patterning. That's much easier, just to land on the correct side of the ball. Something to think about. All right, so back to our regular scheduled programming. We'll talk about some of those fancy, exotic spins that many people consider to be positioning. When we are identifying what we're going to do with that cue ball, first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out top, center, bottom. There's a reason why we started off talking about rolls, stops, stuns, and draws, is because everything starts off on the tangent line. We need to know what is that cue ball doing at the time of contact with the object ball and what's going to happen with it. Here, a tangent line looks like this. What I need to happen is to get down here. How am I going to do that? Well, if I draw, I'm coming back here, and I'm going over there. That's not going to work. If I go follow, I can come over here, and then over here, and then over here. Okay, that works. So now what I have to do is I got to figure out, if I'm going follow, how high? It's going to start off on the tangent line, right? So if I just do a little follow, I might only land here. What's going to happen with that? If I just stun over here, because I don't have enough follow on it at all, is left English going to grab that rail and bring it all the way down? No, I don't think so. I need some help. I need to get it in here. I need to drive that ball forward so that the left English can grab and take it down the rail. Use a bigger cue ball. One of the easiest things you can do to get more movement out of the cue ball when you do have to recover because you landed on the wrong side or your opponent left you on the wrong side or whatever reason that you're having to do this, use a larger cue ball. Get further from the center of the cue ball. Push your limits. Work on your stroke. Remember, when you're hitting top left on this shot here, you're only the bottom right part of your tip is touching. So get even higher and even further left. And by doing that, you'll be able to stroke and get a tremendous amount of spin on the cue ball because you're using like a bigger bicycle tire, right? I hope that makes sense. If you only go a tip out, you're not going to get as much spin. So we made the decision that we're going to go this way, this way, this way. And it starts off with, how do we have to get over here instead of over here? Well, that's by hitting high. And how do we hit over here? To be clear, left English isn't really going to change the path of that cue ball. What happens with left English on this particular shot is it's going to pick up the speed. You see, I'm giving it so much top, and I'm hitting this ball so full, I don't have enough speed when it hits the rail to pull it all the way over here. I need that outside spin, or the inside spin, the left spin, to help carry it down here. And the nice thing is I can hit it almost as hard as I want to, because it's running English here, left English, left English. And by the time it hits over here, left English is now reverse. It just slows right down. It acts like brakes. Okay? So, again, I already demonstrated this shot, we can bring the shot in even tighter. The same thing, I need a bunch of follow, and a bunch of left English, and a big stroke. And we can get that ball to float over there. We can get it to the point where the balls are frozen together. Here's both balls frozen on the rail. Zero angle. We can cheat the pocket just a little bit. I can't cheat and hit rail first here because my cue ball is already on the rail. So I actually have to do is hit just the tiniest little bit outside, left of straight on from that one ball. What happens is by me hitting just the tiniest little bit left of center, I mean like 1 millimeter, it's going to force the one ball into the rail, banking it into the spacing, and then it goes in. But that's all the angle I need to hit this rail, and then the left spin drives it down. But in order for me to get to this rail in the first place, I need follow. I need a lot of true follow, where the cue ball overspins, it pauses on the tangent line, and then drives forward into this rail. So it's going to be max high, max left is going to be 1030, okay, maybe 1045 on an analog clock. Digital doesn't look like that on a cue ball. That's a joke, by the way. Big stroke, and don't cheat the ball a lot. Just cheat it a little bit. A lot of high left. Not bad for not having any angle on there at all, right? Now, what happens when we have the same situation, but the ball is this way? We'll go back over here. Again, we're trying to figure out what's positioning and patterns. Well, guess what? The answer would still be on this side, because we can just use our trisect angle for draw. There's my tangent line. I don't like that. If I go, here's my angle in. Remember that last video on trisect angle for draw? There's angle 1. There's angle 2. There's angle 3. Nice little draw shot on this ball. It just floats right down. We like that, right? That would be easy, but we're not on easy. We're doing this lesson because of recovery shots, because this is what people think about when we're talking about position, not patterns. So now, we landed on straight. Okay, fine. Straight is considered suicide here, right? Because even if we were on this side of the ball, we could figure out some sort of way to get it down here, right? If it's thin enough, we can just cut it. If it's thick enough, maybe we go 2 rails. But we'll just talk about this one. We want that ball to come down here. Here's my shape zone. How do I hit this rail? That means I gotta hit over here somewhere. How do I hit over here somewhere? That means I gotta draw back somehow. Angle in equals angle out, right? A lot of times, people think spin reverses. I want to pause you there. If you think spin reverses off a rail, that is a myth. It is not correct. See, when the cue ball draws back here, and we want the ball to go this way, this is to my left. But what direction is it where you're looking at? See, when you're heading forward, we're shooting the same way that you're seeing it. Well, that's right-hand spin, isn't it? So if we want right-hand spin going forward, well, right-hand spin forward and backwards is the same thing. Right-hand spin coming this way is right-hand spin coming this way. And that's how we get right-hand spin. So it's the same thing. It's not that the shot is backwards, it's that I'm backwards. I'm not used to shooting backwards. So it's not that the spin reverses. If I want the ball to come back, over here, it's low right. I need a lot of draw, good action draw, just a little bit of right. Just to help widen it out just a little bit, help it get down there. Mostly draw. You can see how much that changes the angle, and that was barely hitting on the right-hand side. And once again, just as we demonstrated with those true follow shots, even when we get down here, let's bring it real close in here. What the heck? We'll skip that close and we'll go right to both balls frozen. Same concept. I hit this ball just a little bit off center, driving the one into the rail. And these are, by the way, these are 4 1/4 inch pockets. I can't quite get the 2 balls even to the back of the shelf there. 4 1/4 inch pockets. So it's not like we're playing on bigger pockets. This works. My last table is 3 3/4 pockets. It still works. So you don't need bigger pockets to make this work, okay? You just don't aim too much outside. A little bit on the left of the object ball, a lot of maximum draw, and a little bit more right-hand spin. So when it hits this rail, we can clear that side pocket. And again, for no angle, not bad, right? It's mostly about the stroke. So again, while you might be requesting positional help, maybe these are the things that you thought you needed, focus first on pattern stuff. Because for the positional stuff, you might need mechanics work. You might need some foundational fundamentals. We might have to work on some stroke type of things just to be able to get the spin necessary to do positional stuff. But in the meantime, at least you have a concept of how the heck it is that people do this stuff. And if you're looking for some one-on-one time with me so we can do some of that stroke stuff, so we can do some of that pattern stuff so you don't need to know how to position, and you can use the table layout so everything just looks easy. Nice stops and rolls, and you know, when you're watching those boring pool players like Shane Van Bonen, he doesn't do anything fancy, right? He just, everything's easy. If you want to play like that, give me a call. You can also sign on to be an Ultimate Dragon. That package, if you upgrade to that, it already includes a live video one-on-one instruction with me every single month. So if you sign on for that, check it out. You get all the same videos you already subscribed on for. Plus, you get some of that one-on-one personal time. We'll just do a live video chat, and I'll be able to help you out individually rather than just doing a blank generic video like what I do here. As always, if you come up with any requests, let me know. I do appreciate the requests I've been getting in. Definitely helps me to give you guys some content that you're looking for rather than me trying to guess. As always, I appreciate you. Stay true to yourself and each other. Train better, do better, and shop better at DragonBilliardsInstruction.com.